Companies. Also giving thanks to our good friends here at American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store. Glenn and Greg Badenhop, gracious hosts, as we're headed into this is year number 3, right, Coach Krauss?
You quickly corrected me. I was thinking 2, but one of our guests was here 2 years ago plus, and he says it had to be 3. So I never would doubt what Kirk Lehman says.
Yeah. Joined by Dave Krauss as my host again this season. I'm Lynn Groll. We'll have Tori Strock with us at times this year, but duty called with the family tonight, so we couldn't have Tori with us.
I feel a little naked without him, because he's usually full of great questions and insights, and he just has that ability with words, even though I would never tell him to face that he has that ability. But he's a dandy.
Yep.
He's one of a kind.
Yep. Honored to have brothers Jay and Kirk Lehman with us for our first episode of 2026. Thank you guys for joining us. A couple legends from Defiance.
Thanks, guys. You got the Defiance part, right? I don't know about legends or not, man.
well, we know both 1,000-point scorers in your college careers too, and spent some time together at Defiance as well. So thank you guys, and looking forward to visiting with both of you. We have some business to take care of first, because we're going to give out our team of the first month of the season, right, Coach, on the boys and girls side.
Okay. Well,
I'm still in football mode.
So
you need to help me out here.
I'm with you here, but I kind of think we can go a lot of different avenues on this. From a boys' standpoint, there's really good teams in Toledo. You got your Pearisburgs, and Anthony Wayne is off to a good start on both men's and women's. You get into the Northern Buckeyes is called, Genoa. He was unbelievable last night. They had a showdown, an early season showdown with an undefeated Otsego team, and boy, did Genoa put it to them. I mean, just socked them right off the get-go, and it wasn't even a game. So they're undefeated yet, and there aren't too many undefeated teams out there. I think OG still has an undefeated record. Allen East got them? I didn't hear that one. Okay, so about Wapak.
Last Tuesday. Wapak's still undefeated.
Yeah, okay. That was another team that I think deserves a mention on the boys' side. On the girls' side, boy, OG just keeps romping. They're amazing. They just reload. And I'll tell you what they've done. There's 3 really good smaller division schools that have had great seasons to date. Miller City, Grove, defending state champion, and Patrick Henry. All right, Grove and Miller City, they've lost 1 game to OG. Patrick Henry's lost 2 games, but one of them to OG. So the OG Titans have just taken some really, really good top-level teams and have maintained their success. So you could start right there with on the girls' side, because what they've done is impressive and who they've beaten. So I think that's a good start there.
Let me take a break, because I have to pay some bills here from the Gherkin Companies, and we can come back and you can give us your decision. I'll give you a few more seconds here.
That's awesome.
I'll give you a few more seconds.
Who says a college degree is the only path to a fulfilling career? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods with or without a degree. Gherkin provides a generous benefits package, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. We're looking for rock-solid performers to help build and reinforce the region's infrastructure. Whether you have construction experience or are just starting your career, apply now at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
Thank you to the Gherkin Companies, title sponsor of our basketball podcast again this season, after the football season as well. So we can't thank the crew at the Gherkin Companies enough for their continued support. And Coach Krauss is going to hand out the teams of the first month or so here of the season so far, and going forward it'll be a weekly thing for us.
Sounds good. I'll stick with OG on the women's side. I think Troy Yant's done a great job, and just year after year they just stamp them out, and they basically rival the boys program. Those 2 programs are traditionally 2 of the best around, obviously. And then I'll stay in WBL. I'll stick with Wapak and Scott Elkert's son. What's his Trey Elkert has done a really good job stepping in there. His dad Scott was a longtime coach down in Jackson Center, very successful coach, and It appears that Trey's ready to chip off the old block, and I know you know their football people down there. A lot of those same kids are suiting up on the basketball side, so they've got a winning mentality going on for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. Great football season again, another Western Buckeye League championship before they ran into a powerful Central Catholic team in the playoffs. But Walpock has it rolling in hoops and carrying it right off the football field. Guys, before we get into our guests here, and you guys can chime in here as well because you knew Mike Kennedy, but Mike, as most of us know, passed a week ago, long-standing assistant coach at Archbold, and your brother had him by his side for decades, Coach Krauss, and a special guy. He meant a lot to that Archbold community, coached other sports, and I think you guys were talking before we got on the air here of how many years he was in service over there in Archbold. It was, what did you say, 30?
I heard 39 years.
39 years.
Coaching 3 sports.
Yeah, and coached junior high football for a long time as well.
Yeah, what a great guy. Just good
Yeah,
person.
I'll give the floor to you guys. Tell us about Mike, and you know him a lot better than I did.
I was fortunate to play softball with Mike for a couple years, and just the most important thing about Mike was what a good person, fun to be around, and obviously, legacy of coaching for 39 years, and what he did for young men and maybe young women if he coached any of them, just speaks volumes.
Yeah, I'll just expand a little bit because I got to play basketball with him a little bit with Archibald Elevator when we were just out of college. And, the way to sum Mike up is he's just a great teammate. I mean, he's great to have on the team. And obviously what Rabbit, Joe, and Mike did at Archibald is, I don't think it's ever going to be matched. I mean, I just can't imagine the commitment and the selflessness that Mike added to that Archibald along with Joe speaks volumes to the class act that he was.
No, that you hit it around the head. The number of years that staff stayed together, unparalleled. It just doesn't happen. It won't happen for that many years with the same people just stepping back in, and talking with my brother, it was tough for the whole family, the family of basketball family over there, and the community of Archbold to deal with Mike's passing. And Doug summed him up just as this. He goes, you know what? Mike was a giver. He gave of his time in all kinds of avenues. Whether it be at the school or with the different programs he was involved in, or at his church. He was kind of the leader of the KFC and just did all kinds of things for the community, and it's a huge loss.
Thanks for bringing that up, Lynn. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's an icon in the Archbold community and has meant a ton to. I know some guys that played junior high football for him, and boy, they had nothing but outstanding things to say about who he was as just a person and as a coach, and really helped them along in their lives.
Absolutely. He's just one of those guys that, you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody to say a negative word about Mike Kennedy. He was that kind of a guy.
Just like that, the type of guy that he is, I just found out that he coached football. I didn't even realize that because Mike didn't brag about it. He didn't talk about that kind of stuff. He just did it. Gave his time, gave his commitment, and he'll be missed. One of the great ones in Northwest Ohio. Unbelievable player, unbelievable coach, and just a great guy, as everybody has said.
Yep, for sure.
You touched on you played basketball for the Archbold Elevator. What went into that?
Well, it was fed ball, and Bill Fricky had picked up some guys around the area. Curtis Spots, good Archbold player, played with him. Mike Kennedy, Denny Shannon, who we played with at Defiance High School.
Priggy, Doug.
Priggy, yeah, all kinds of guys. Danny Lehman played with him a little bit. I think Bosselman even played in a couple tournaments with him. But Bill Fricky was just great at picking out Northwest Ohio players. He'd get Defiance College guys. Larry Pappenfuss played with us for a number of years, and just unbelievable. And just like all the time that he gave, that's how Mike played basketball. He was great at passing the ball. When you play with Joe Frank and you pass it, you aren't getting it back. So, but
truth to that.
He made Joe one heck of a player, and I'm sure Joe would give him an awful lot of credit too.
So kind of like an adult AAU type
That's
league?
exactly what it was.
Where would you go and play at?
Well, we played in a league at Napoleon for a number of years, and then the big tournament was always at Convoy, Crestview.
It's called the Wren.
Yeah, the Wren tournament. Thanks, Dave. And all kinds of great players would play there, and we won it one year. But I think we were runner-up 2 or 3 years. But there were some very good teams. Findlay University used to bring a lot of guys would play with them. Jay's played in it, I think. So in fact, I think he played with one of the more loaded teams.
Somebody
that
did
he
some
played with.
recruiting on that team that we had. That was Steve Platt, who was one of the all-time leading NAIA scorers, and a couple guys from Hillsdale. Where was Springer? Where did Springer play high school?
Crestview, I believe, didn't he?
I'm not sure. You might be right.
Yeah, I think. I know he taught there for a number of years, but
Yeah, it was a good team.
And Mike played at Calvin College, right?
Yep. Big time Division III programming.
Yeah.
You ever go to Calvin?
Oh,
it's in
yeah.
the Grand
Been there.
Rapids
Oh, yeah.
area. It's a beautiful school and a beautiful gymnasium. They take their
It's
basketball
like
real
a Division
serious.
I arena almost in a
big
way.
time. Yeah, big time.
Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing some sentiments on Mike, and I know he means a lot to all of you in basketball here in Northwest Ohio, and pass on our condolences to the Archbold community and his family. We're
Absolutely.
gonna miss him for sure.
Yep.
most
I want to get your guys' segment started. What was it like growing up in the Lehman household when you were little whippersnappers?
I'll let the old guy go first.
Two tremendous parents. That's what got it rolling. And Dad was extremely competitive. In his later years, most people would not have seen that, but we saw it as the way he played. And he was never certainly a problem, but would get after us, would play with us, take us anywhere, play with us at the park. We got a lot of our ability, and drive from him, and then just a super mom that, when the dad, like one of his sons, got after his kids too much, she was there to pick us up, and certainly the steady ship. But that's what started it, and then playing with Kirk was certainly great. Obviously, with brothers, you're always going to have fights, and let him drive around you and try to elbow him in the back of the head when he's going to the basket and that type of thing. But fed off each other, was a good combination. The way our games came together, and the only thing that I'm sad about that we should have taken him at Toledo. Back then you didn't redshirt unless somebody got hurt, and we had a lot of guards. Not saying he would have been there or he wouldn't have, but certainly would have made our team better if he would have played with us at Toledo.
Been a heck of a lot easier on mom and dad driving too.
You mean watching a game at Central Michigan in the afternoon and then drive into Toledo or drive into Bowling Green where Kirk was playing or I was playing or whatever? It certainly would have been.
I got to believe they didn't miss many.
Not many.
Yeah.
I mean, a couple of the long ones.
Absolutely.
And probably had to miss some because, and they did split once in a while.
Sure.
And one
Yep.
was at mine and one was at his. It was fantastic.
Well, Kirk, he led me into one of the questions I wanted to throw out to you two guys, growing up as young whippersnappers. I'd love to see video of the driveway games, one-on-one contests. I mean, did any of them end up in not a fight? Does the score be damned? We're going to have a fight and we're going to find out who wins?
Probably not many of them ended because there was a fight. I don't know if we got to the final score or not, Dave. Very, very, very competitive. As Jay said, Dad was a little bit that way, and he got that from his family. They were just competitive. If you were going to go do something and compete against somebody, there was a reason, and you played to win. And that's Dad felt strongly about that. You do it the right way. But you go to win, and then to grow up with what I consider not only a great role model, but the greatest competitor that I've ever met in 50 years of coaching, playing, everything. Jay Lehman was the ultimate competitor, and he taught me an awful lot about the game of basketball and the time that you put in, and so forth.
We, when our dad passed away, the Reverend told a story at the funeral that the Lehman boys did all the dishes, and we shot horse for whoever was going to do the dishes that night. And I didn't know this was coming, but the Reverend says, yeah, and Kirk said that Jay was the guy with the dishpan hands. I don't know if that was a true story or not, but it was very good.
Yeah.
Was there a sweet spot in the driveway for each of you in these horse games that you knew the other one couldn't make?
No driveway.
Lynn, I wish we had a driveway. We played on dirt, grass, lumps, clods, whatever. And that's a perfect example. Just like the games of horse where the loser would go do dishes, Dad had a great way of making things competitive in a way that it didn't really seem that way. And you did work because you lost, and that was the consequence. But he was a strong believer in that if you can handle the basketball on dirt and grass, he says you'll be fine when you get on a court, and he really believed that. So we didn't have any pavement or tar bomb or anything like that. We played on grass and dirt.
Wow. Wow.
Now, when you bounce a basketball on dirt for about a half hour, imagine how slippery and loose that was. And again, I think that was part of helping us and enabled us to have good hands and things like that, because you learn to focus on catching the ball and gripping it and so forth.
And which there were parts of your hands that were probably pretty clean, but other parts were totally dirty, right?
Great point, Dave.
Well, it's funny too, because now still being around the game, I like to watch shooters, and we always shot the ball on our fingertips. Now a ton of them are shooting it in their whole hand, and that was part of it. If you went out there in the dirty backyard, your palm was clean.
Absolutely.
All your fingers were dirty.
And dribbling too, the same kind.
Right.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen as much anymore.
No, I agree with you.
People are shooting it off the palm.
So you guys end up, obviously, Defiance High School graduate. Kirk, Jay is the older, as you mentioned. Kirk, 77 grad. You're a 78, correct?
Yes.
Well, let's backtrack. Where was Defiance basketball as you were young? Through elementary into junior high. Where were the stages of the basketball program at that point?
Well, when we were in middle school, I'd say middle school, a guy named John Hurley came from school in Cincinnati, and he started to get things going a little bit, got people involved, community got involved, and success was decent. But the real thing started when I was in 7th grade, when Roger Renz came to Defiance, and he got things going and started winning right away, and they had some good players, but he got involved in the summer program and got us playing all the time, and just a great man. I mean, both of us owe him a ton of gratitude behind our parents, and just a great role model, a great coach, excellent motivator, a guy, just a good overall, good person.
Yeah, unbelievable motivator, and I think that was one thing that not a lot of people saw, but Coach really knew how to motivate, and I'll never forget one of the great lines of all time that he had. We got upset at Van Wert and triple overtime, and Van Wert might have been close to the bottom. Well, we're close to the bottom of the WBL, and we were in the hunt for WBL championship, and they got us in triple overtime, and Van Wert had a locker room, and they had a bin or a cabinet full of what ended up being basketballs and kickballs and everything else. And the reason we knew that is Coach happened to hit that, and all the balls came bouncing out, and he started kicking them all over the place, and so forth. But the biggest line that I remember, we got home, and you always sat on the bus until Coach got up and talked a little bit, and then you went into the school. But he got up, and we all kind of cringed and thought, oh boy, what's he going to say now? And he says, hey, fellas, you lost the number 5 ranking in the state, you lost the number 1 ranking in the Crescent News, you lost the number 1 position in the WBL, but there's one thing you didn't lose. And everybody kind of breathed a sigh of relief, and he goes, you didn't lose your pride. You can't lose what you don't have.
And walked off the bus.
Walked off the bus, got in his little Toyota half station wagon, and drove off, never went into the school.
God.
And he had never done that before. And oh boy, that one hurt.
Oh, that's classic.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
That's a great line. I'm sure that some coaches now use that line.
Wow.
Wow.
And now you guys didn't play in the old gym that's downtown, right? You played in the 2 ago or whatever you want to call it, right?
Yep.
Was that when did that open? Early 70s?
I think when I was in 7th grade,
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
I think.
Because I remember
No,
that
that's when
old
the football stadium.
that old gym. I mean, we talk about the different gyms around Northwest Ohio, and that gym comes up as a favorite often. You know, the old.
Junior high gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
I love that gym.
My last year of coaching, we were still practicing in that gym. It was a great facility, and you know, you had to clean the floor pretty good, but that was a great facility. It had 10 baskets in it. I mean, you could get a lot of things done in that old gym, and for that time frame, that had to be one of the bigger gyms
Oh yeah.
as far as space is concerned. You know, I don't know how glamorous it was, but boy, space-wise, that gym.
Yeah.
And those are the first games I kind of remember going to, and mostly tournament games. They'd bring in stands in the end zone from the football field and to watch games.
Who were maybe some guys as kids you looked up to at Defiance? And maybe Defiance College too. I don't know if you went to some games out there because they were really good in those days as well. But who were some guys that you looked up to as players?
Well, when we really started getting into it in 5th, 6th grade, I'd say Greg Shannon, Tom Nipp was a point guard who was a really hard-playing guy, and that you really liked the way he played, so you wanted to play like him. And then Kirk Campy was a basketball player. He was a better football player. Ended up going to Michigan, and if he wouldn't have blown his knee out, he was going to be a really good player at Michigan. And he was on the basketball team, but just liked watching how those, and you know, thought about us playing at that level someday. And then Greg was a senior when I was a freshman. But you know, you can talk about athletes, and certainly a lot of great athletes in Northwest Ohio. And I'm not talking the Toledo end here, but you know, Greg's got to be one of the best athletes that ever come out of Northwest Ohio, probably with Corey Griggs.
Greg Campy.
Greg Campy.
Yes.
Corey Griggs was another one that was great in all 3 sports. And
Jerry Zuver.
And I heard Corey Griggs' best sport was swimming.
Yeah.
Here you
Yes.
got baseball,
Correct.
basketball,
Correct.
football guy. So you know, he was certainly phenomenal. Now there's some young guys coming out of Archibald that are great baseball players.
Yeah.
That I haven't seen, didn't see, but that's the type of guys we looked up to.
You know, that, along with that, he hit on the high school guys, but then at the college you had guys like Ken Bush, Bruce Bear, Jim Amstutz. They were really good, going to Kansas City every year. And
Yeah.
Coach Holmberger, the job that he was doing out there, you know, I can remember trying to emulate a little bit of some of those guys and things like that.
I always loved Coach Hoey about his recruiting demographics mentality. He'd take Defiance, Ohio, and just draw a circle maybe an hour away and say, find me the best players, and they all came, and they were really, really good.
Little school guys.
And packed that place.
Throw in a couple of Toledo guys once in a while.
Yep.
It
worked
he
big
was
time.
Terrific.
Yeah.
He really was.
Yeah. I don't know why they would get away from that type of recruiting mentality. That's
You think about it, Dave, and that he had success doing that for a long time.
Oh, my
I
God.
mean, even, after the Bruce Bears and those guys, Kevin Dilworth, then he gets into the Priggies, Lehman,
Arnson?
Ottawa Glandorf guys, Jim Arnson. I mean,
Yeah.
just unbelievable.
He was
the
great.
recruiting That,
Yeah.
that he did. That's a great point.
Let's get to 77 and 78. Both of you were in your senior years. Jay, you were a first-team All-Ohio. Now, people got to realize, there were only three divisions at that point. It was what? Class A, Double A, and Triple A, and Defiance was one of the larger schools in Triple A. And here you are, the first-team All-Ohio, 24 points. I don't know if you ever scored 24 more points that often in college or not, but at least you got it out of your system early there. But what impressed me about that, I found the first team AAA All-Ohio team, which you were a member of. Who was the player of the year when you were on that first team?
Todd Penn.
Todd Penn was on it, but he was not the player of the year.
Carter Scott.
Carter Scott was on it, but not player of the year. There's another Buckeye you're missing. Herbie Williams. There you go.
Huh.
There you go. Some good names there.
Yes, there are.
And Jim Smith was in that class too.
Okay.
That's-
Yep. And then let's jump to your year, Kurt. Your second team All-Ohio, so Jay's got one on you. But you did 28.7 points a game. Now, obviously, you probably shot at 28 times a game, but that's okay. That's second team, but that's still unbelievable. Again, when you consider you're talking the top 250 schools in the state of Ohio, that's really a unique thing. How about guys on your first team or on the first team that were above you then? You remember who that might have been?
Dwight Anderson from Dayton Roth.
Player of the year.
Was there Twyman from Cincinnati?
It might have been. I just took names that people would recognize.
Okay.
There's one from Toledo.
Marcus Newbern.
Yep. And there's one.
There's a big guy that went to Connecticut.
The name that people would really recognize made his name in football at Ohio State.
Oh, yeah. Art Sleester.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yep.
Yep. And I go back to you.
That's funny, Dave. I made second team and like Art Sleester, and he was a darn good basketball player. But then on our good team in 2015, Katwan Singleton,
Yeah.
he made second team, and what great football player beat him out and made first team? Joe Burrow
Whoa.
from Athens.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is right.
Yeah.
I'll go back to your year, Jay. There was a couple guys on second team that went to Michigan.
The Bodner twins.
Yeah, Mark and Marty Bodner from Barberton, Ohio. And that stuck out to me because when I was at Kent State, my roommate was from Barberton. And those teams, I didn't miss a home game at Barberton High School for 2 years, basically, because my college roommate's dad was the policeman in town, and he got us in the back door. And I saw that team play for 2 straight years. I mean, you talk about a memorable. Oh, that was so much fun. Jack Reynolds coaching that group.
2 Grisbys, Carter Scott, and 2 Bodners.
Yep.
And the streets, correct me if I'm wrong, but we went my senior year and scrimmaged at Barberton. Coach Renz took us there, and just the
gym itself.
painting and
Oh, my
the
God.
decorations and the hoopla surrounding that program.
Both.
Wow.
It was a Vanderbilt setup.
Yeah.
Both teams sat on the stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then they would get off the stage and run to the half court and report in. And
That's
it was
weird.
Yeah, it was weird.
We've been there been doing some games at Toledo on the radio, and it's tough to do the radio because you're sitting
Yeah.
on the sidelines,
Yep.
like right even with the court.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Magics, right?
Yep.
home of Bo
Purple
Schembechler,
Magics.
too, which is the connection
Yeah.
there.
Yes, he was.
A couple of their
That's
their
right.
guys.
Well, really quick, just because we're on this names thing, and you guys are good
Hold
basketball.
on one second.
Go ahead.
While you're on the Bodners, I was 2-1 against Michigan.
Yeah.
In my career at Toledo, so we can.
Well, we're going to get to Toledo in a minute, so you're way ahead of the game.
We'll throw that one at the Bodners.
And one of them was on New Year's Eve.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, 76 before the year prior to your guys, player of the year? Went to Indiana?
Butch Carter. No.
Butch Carter, you got it.
Was it?
Yep. And there was another Buckeye from Toledo, first teamer,
76?
76. Calvin Ramsey, really good. And there was a third teamer from Defiance High School.
Marquette's.
Went to
Ohio State.
I mean, there's Ohio State's coming up quite a bit.
Wish he'd have gone to Ohio University.
Yeah, I bet
That
you
was his
did.
number 2 choice,
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Well, and then I'll just wrap it up on the following year, the year after you graduate, Kirk, 79. This is a who's who here. Yeah.
You might have to help me there, Dave.
Okay, a couple Ohio State guys. One is well known,
Clark
Kellogg. One went to Notre Dame, out of Dayton.
Paxson.
John Paxson. The kid out of Cincinnati, I can't remember where he went to school, LaSalle Thompson.
Yeah.
Really good player. A kid from Findlay went to Ohio State. 6'5", 6'6" kid, really, really talented.
You finally stumped him, Coach.
Yes, you did.
Dave Reeker,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Went to Toledo.
yeah. So and then finally a little guard out of Canton McKinley,
David Greer.
David Greer. Yep. So
That's pretty good.
that's fun.
Are you going to have that kind of
No.
questions each week for
I
our guests?
I
or-
want to just drill Strock on these things because I'll kick his butt on 'em.
I don't think he would have got any of those.
Well, I'll dumb
He's
him down.
younger than us.
I'll dumb him down for him.
That's good stuff.
Yep. So let's.
Can I take a break before you
Well,
go into Toledo?
I was gonna wait for that.
Okay.
But
You got some more before you get into the Toledo?
Let's take the
Okay,
break because
okay.
we can.
We'll do that and we'll come back and continue the show.
Hard-working individuals have been the heart of the Gherkin companies for generations. Together we construct the highways and infrastructure that strengthen our communities. Gherkin is seeking rock-solid performers. We offer generous benefits, continuous training, top-notch equipment, and a culture that rewards effort. Want to be part of something big, steady, and stable with room to grow? Whether you're experienced or just starting your career, we encourage you to apply at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store off Route 24 on State Route 109, just south of Liberty Center, now has 88 unleaded fuel and is your one-stop shop for fuel, food, drinks, and much, much more, including locally raised meats and home-baked goods. American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store is proud to support Black Swamp Football and is the host of the Black Swamp Football podcast, football show, and Saturday mornings Rise and Rewind. Stop in and see Glenn and Greg today and make American Freedom Energy and Grandma's General Store a part of your everyday routine.
High school seniors, uncertain that college is right for you? Concerned about the cost of higher education? At the Gherkin Companies, we offer rewarding livelihoods even without a degree. That's a good living straight out of high school with no tuition debt. Starting pay between recent college grads and those with high school diplomas is closer than you might think. So if you enjoy teamwork, working outdoors, and being part of something meaningful, consider your options at gherkincompanies.com/careers.
Welcome back to the Black Swamp Basketball Podcast presented by the Gherkin Companies. You got to be careful here. I'm going to say football at
It's
one of
okay.
these points.
We'll correct you.
Joined again by Kirk and Jay Lehman. Can't thank them enough, along with Dave Krauss. I am Lynn Groll, and we'll continue this all the way through the state tournament. And Coach, you got some good guests lined up, I know, right? You got
Well,
some
we're
more.
working on 'em. We're working on 'em.
John Floyd will be here, a NCAA official who is going to come on next week to talk about the great Terry Weimer and talk about his
Talk about a guy
life.
we lost too early.
Yes, and I was talking to your brother at one of the Archibald football games right after Terry's passing, and he was he went and he said Wisconsin's whole staff was there. There was a couple other teams that brought their whole staff. For a college basketball official, most of the time,
Tom Izzo was there.
Yes.
Todd Kowalczyk was there.
When we were in
Campbell.
line, Doug and I went together. It was Greg Gard and his people.
Yeah.
Matt Painter was in line with
Matt
us.
Painter was another one he mentioned,
That's
yeah.
impressive when somebody has that much respect for a guy, particularly wearing stripes. You know,
What a great guy.
and he was awesome, really good. So that'll be fun hearing John's comments about Terry.
And started at the high school level.
Yes, he
Probably
did.
some of your games,
He-
did some of mine at
He didn't do a lot of high school. It didn't stay long.
Starting to get into
Yep.
my first couple years at Tenora.
Yep.
And I think he did one or two, probably one at Holgate, so he could go to Wayno's house after the game.
Like everybody else did.
Yeah, but yeah, it wasn't beyond him to do high school games and to build his way up, and
Yeah.
absolutely, what a great guy, and he'll be missed as well, that's for sure.
Jay, did you have some run-ins with him with your broadcasting duties with Toledo over the years? Did Terry do some of Toledo's games that you got to have some conversations?
have
Some
one-
of
I do
some
have-
of Toledo games.
I do have a good story about him, but one of the things I want to say before that, I work with Mark Beyer, who is one of the best announcers going, very professional, and right from day one, I got through him that we stay off the officials. You know, our job is to broadcast the game. No, we might make a comment like, we thought this was the case or this, but they're out there trying to do their best, like the players are, and it's not on us to be on the officials. But one time we're playing at Bowling Green, I'm doing the radio, and one of Toledo's guys comes down with a rebound, and a Bowling Green guy comes up under him, and the Toledo guy knocks him over, and it was definitely a block. He came in, and everybody knew it was a block, and Terry called it a charge. I don't remember who won the game. It doesn't matter, anything like that. But the next time I saw him, I was at Central Michigan. He came up to me, and he put me in a headlock, and he said, "Do you still love me?" and that's all that was said. I mean, he didn't apologize for making the wrong call. He didn't say he made the wrong call, any of that. But that's just the type of a gentleman and professional that Terry Weimer was.
That's for sure.
Why was he so well respected by coaches and players from you guys' experience knowing him?
He just knew how to relate and get along, and had a way about communication. He would always talk to you in a civil way. He was never down. He never spoke down to you. He was just right straight with you. And if he kicked something, he'd tell you, "I kicked that one." And you'd appreciate when referees tell you that. Now, you don't want them telling that every time down to court, but when a guy says that, that's fine.
No doubt. Krauss hit the nail on the head. He communicated with you, and just like everything in life, you communicate, that solves an awful lot of problems, Lynn.
Yeah.
He excelled at it,
Yeah,
and he's taught his officials the same. And
Yes, he has.
I think he's done his mark will be. He left his mark, and it'll be still followed and greatly respected.
Yeah. Tune in next week. We'll have John Floyd to talk about Terry's life, and hopefully we have Coach Krauss with us. We're hoping to. I don't know if it's going to work out time-wise, but hopefully we can get you here next week.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, we'll work
Get
on
the
that.
other Coach Krauss then.
Well, he's going to be with me, so. Hey, let's jump back. Let's go back to Toledo, and here we are, Defiance, Ohio, 1977. I being Jay Lehman, I just get on 24 and go to Toledo for the rest of my life. So you left Defiance in '77. Basically, you've never left.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So you played the 4 years. You end up coaching there, and then you maybe moved on and helped camp out a little bit. So your Defiance roots you still connected your Defiance side there, but then came back and have done this radio gig now, what, 27, 28?
Yeah, 27th year this year.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So
Been terrific, Dave.
Tell me about how that.
Well, I thought I was going to Wittenberg.
Okay.
Did not get recruited hardly at all. A couple of Division I's came, talked to Coach Rans and look at me a little bit, but I thought I was headed to Wittenberg to play for Larry Hunter, and late in the spring I was fortunate enough playing a Toledo All-Star team and played in a couple of tournaments, played against the Russians in an All-Star game with Magic Johnson, and one day my dad was driving me up and he said, "Hey, Coach Nichols came to practice today," and pulled me out in the hallway and says he wants to offer you a scholarship. He said, he says, Coach wants you to call him, see when you can come up. So I called him the next day, and he said, when can you come up? I said, tomorrow, like that. And he said, well, I can't do it tomorrow, but it was like 2 days later, and offered me a scholarship, and, you know, the rest was history. I mean, it was a great place for me, and another great coach. I was not ready for the speed and, you know, and the size at that point, but I was ready to play the type of basketball that Toledo played because of Coach Renz. I mean, I knew how to play defense. And
He must have trusted you, because to give a freshman the ball and say, you're my point guard, and obviously he had trust in you and believed in you, and you know, and he did that for 4 straight years.
yeah, well, I got a break. The guy who was in my wedding and I was in his wedding was starting ahead of me, Tim Selgo, and broke his hand the 3rd game of the season. And I was fortunate to stay there the rest of the time, and played with some great players, some really good teams, Tim included, and a great coaching staff. Not only Coach Nichols, but Coach Jim McDonald was terrific, just passed away not too long ago. And, fantastic guy, and it was a great spot for me.
Yeah, obviously.
Speaking of Magic Johnson, you almost had the chance to nullify that great 1979 game between him and Bird, right? Because you beat Iowa in the first round, upset Iowa, and then you played Notre Dame the next round and lost by like 8 or 10, and you would have played Magic in Michigan State.
We would have played Magic. I told him that when I was coaching with Campy at Oakland. Isaiah Thomas ran his camp at our gym, and Magic come in. They were best buddies. And I said, "Listen, Magic, you wouldn't have won the national championship if we'd have beat Notre Dame. We'd have got you guys." And he just smiled and laughed at me. But what a great guy he was.
Oh, I bet.
And the fun thing I like to say is when we played in that rushing game, which we won because of him, but we combined for 51 points. Magic had 41 and I had 10. But I knew who to pass it to.
There you go.
I got a trivia question for you, Coach Krauss. See if you get this one if you haven't been looking at my notes.
I haven't.
Who did Jay pass to for the winning bucket against Iowa in that 79 game? Do you know the answer to this one?
Absolutely.
Okay, you do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Stan Joplin.
Yes. Thought I could maybe get you there, but I didn't.
Well, I've read that story, so.
I figured you probably did, but
Did some
could I
research.
got Strock on that one?
Probably.
Yeah, I would have got him on
Probably.
that one. Yeah.
Well, let's just jump to a year later then. Little brother graduates out of Defiance and ends up, of all places, the God's country, Athens, Ohio. What took you down there, Jay or Kirk?
Well, Coach Krauss, Jay and I had gone down before, I believe, my sophomore year and his junior year to camp at Ohio University. And went to basketball camp down there and got to know their staff a little bit. And I think they were looking at Jay a little bit, but made the decision not to do that. And then luckily for me, when Jay went to Toledo and beat the living daylights out of Ohio University, they decided to go ahead and offer me, thinking I had the same genes as he did. Only problem is I shot it a little bit more and didn't play as much defense as he did. So they found that out quick. But, you know, a great story about that. And Coach Nichols, till the day he passed, always reminded me, he says, now you do know you're invited to these alumni things because I offered you a scholarship. And he actually did. He called Mom and Dad and I up to his office, sat us down, and he says, okay, I'll get right to the point. He said, I think it'll be tough for you guys to play together, but he said, if you want to come to Toledo, he says, you got a scholarship. And he looked at my mom and dad, and he says, does everybody understand that? And they shook their head yes, and he goes, all right, let's go to Bill Knapp's and have lunch. and that was that. And to the day he passed, Coach Nichols reminds me, he says, I tried to get you to be a Rocket, he said, so you make sure when these guys get together, you come. So it was kind of neat. But I just felt that Ohio University was a better fit for me, and I didn't know if I wanted to compete against Jay. for the same position and same playing time and things like that.
Right.
And it was good for me to get away. It was unbelievable playing with him in high school, just a great experience. There were rough patches, no question about it, just because how competitive he is, but he made me a heck of a lot better player, and he got me ready for college basketball. And I think I was more ready just because of him, and then also watching him play his freshman year at Toledo.
Did you guys discuss playing together ever in college? Was that anything that growing up that you said, oh, we'd like to play together in college, or never crossed your minds?
Not really.
No?
It was ever brought up. He was really getting recruited hard by Miami. We thought he was going to Miami, and towards the end, if I'm saying this right, they got another player and backed off of him. Yeah. And so he ended up at Ohio, which was certainly a great place for him.
I don't know this, but who played point guard in high school when you guys were playing? You played point guard. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything to say about that, Kurt?
No, I'm glad he did, so I could shoot.
Was he a black hole and never came back?
Well, he was a black hole maybe, but he was a black hole that made a lot of shots.
There we go.
So we didn't have any problem
There we go.
with him being the black hole.
Gotcha.
I only had one problem with my shooting ever, Lynn and Dave. My sophomore year, we played at Delphus St. John's, and we had gone the whole week, and Coach Renz was adamant, and he wasn't big on set plays, and he didn't limit you a whole lot other than you better play hard, but offensively, he gave you some freedom, which was a great thing. But we played Delphus St. John's, and they had a great team with Tim Pullman and Jimmy Arnson and Pat Kester and some of those guys. And it was at their place, and he said, I don't care what happens in the first quarter, it goes into Hetz, and Hetz touches it before anybody shoots. Well, Coach always had this thing, and I got to him a number of years after that, and he didn't figure that I could get anything near the jump ball anyways. So he always put me down at the offensive end. He put me in the corner. And I figured he put me down there in case Jay threw me the ball, I was to shoot it. So we had worked all week long on getting the ball inside the Hetz. Hetz touches it before anybody shoots. Well, we get the jump. Jay throws me a great pass, and I cast it. And I'm telling you, that ball isn't halfway there, and Steve Schultz is already going to the scorer's table to sub in. And that was the end of my time at Delphus for quite a while. I don't know if I got in the rest of the half. But that's a good story about that one.
Wow. Talk about, we mentioned Coach Nichols, and I want to come back to him, but Kirk, talk about the coaching staff you joined up with.
You know, Dave, I think back to that time and how lucky we all were to come into the presence of all the guys that we did. Dale Bandy recruited me originally, and his assistants were Mike Wren and Bill Brown. Well, Bill Brown was a heck of a player at Ohio University, and then went on to coach at numerous places and assistant coaches at Arkansas and some of those places. And then Mike Wren played at Miami. His father was more known for baseball. He was the longtime legendary baseball coach there. But those guys, and I still stay in touch with Coach Wren quite a bit. But they were there originally, and then we struggled my sophomore year, and Coach Bandy got let go. And boy, when that happened, they did a national search, and our athletic director, Mr. McElhaney, did an unbelievable job and brought in Danny Nee from Notre Dame. He was Digger Phelps' assistant, and I think was on the staff. Well, I know he was on the staff of the team that Jay played at Toledo, and then he brought in as his assistants Billy Hahn, who was a player at Maryland from Mishawaka, Indiana. Billy just passed away a couple years ago, and we were lifelong friends since the day he got to Athens, and then Larry Epperly stayed on the staff. But then the following year, he brought in Fran Frischella, who's known for college basketball. I mean, if there's anybody that knows more about college basketball, it's hard to find them. And Franny was the ultimate worker. Him and Billy, they just worked and worked and worked. And then they brought in a graduate assistant, Joe Lombardi, who's one of the more successful Division II coaches in Indiana, Pennsylvania. Just does an unbelievable job. So we were surrounded with just a great number of guys who knew college basketball. Billy played at Maryland, played with Tom McMillan and Len Elmore, and then Franny has done the things that he's done, and it was just a great, great, great experience.
Mm-hmm. Jay, what, you mentioned, we used the term earlier off the air about somebody being unrespected or what, under the radar type of thing. That was Bob Nichols. I mean, he had he was well known locally and probably within the coaching fraternity, but I don't think he ever got his true respect that he could have as a technician, et cetera, et cetera. What made him so good?
Well, I don't mean this in a bad way, but the story that Kirk told about him as far as offering him the scholarship, I mean, he made everything simple. Mm-hmm. I mean, he knew what he wanted, and you were going to play hard, you were going to play defense if you wanted to play, you were going to play team basketball, gave you an opportunity to play. Coach McDonald got credit for all the defense, and Coach Nichols, I thought, was excellent offensively. But he was better. He knew defense as well. He was smart enough to let Coach McDonald handle it, so that he could handle the offense and not have to worry about both things. Offensive, defensive coordinator type of thing. Sure. But just a good person. He got better as far as kind of dealing with the person when you were done playing. It was fun to go out to dinner with him. He'd take me and my wife out to dinner. He appreciated what we did, and we appreciated him.
Absolutely. What about both of you? You obviously played with great teammates, but let's talk about maybe some of the players you played against that were pretty well-known people, and maybe some of the arenas that you played in that stand out in your memory.
Well, we played. I'd say the best player that I played against would have been Isaiah Thomas from Indiana. Isaiah Thomas, extremely quick, great player. Got to know him a little bit when I was coaching at Oakland when the Pistons were practicing in our gym, and played a little bit with him. But Ronnie Lester was a really good player out of Iowa that was going to be a good pro, and he blew his knee out and hurt his knee. But that Notre Dame team had Bill Lambier, Orlando Woolridge, Kelly Tripucka, fortunate enough to play. There's an under-the-radar guy from VMI that played with the Lakers for a long time. I can't remember his name. What? I got a good one. Played against him 2 years, and he was a good basketball player, but he was a greater baseball player. Tony Gwynn. Played for San Diego State. And,
wow.
Similar player to me, point guard, didn't score a ton.
Does he shoot lefty?
He's a lefty.
Yeah.
Yep. We beat him at Toledo, and they beat us at San Diego State. Played against some good ones.
That's really good.
Yep.
How about you, Kirk?
Yeah, played against the Ohio State teams with Kelvin Ramsey, and Jay did. Jay beat him. We didn't beat him. We did hit a three-quarter court shot at the buzzer at halftime to cut it to 1, and went in the locker room all fired up, and then in the second half they happened to beat us by about 28. So that joy was short-lived, but. At Ohio State, and for a high school kid that grew up in Ohio playing at St. John Arena, could you ask for any better place? The other cool place that I enjoyed playing, and my younger brother Danny got to shoot in there with Brian Winters. We played Marquette at the Mecca.
Wow.
And after our walkthrough and shoot around, Brian Winters came in about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was going to shoot. And my dad and little brother had gone over to watch our shoot around. And Brian Winters called him out and had him shoot a couple shots with him on the floor at the Mecca. That was a pretty cool place to play. Got to play against Terry Cummings at DePaul. In fact, it ended up being his last home game before he went hardship case into the NBA. Played at the University of Connecticut, which was a tournament that we played in at Hartford. So we played at the Hartford Civic Center, which was kind of a neat place. And
I forgot that part of the question, but we're missing one that I would get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but Anderson Arena was one of the best places to play.
The House that Roars, baby.
College basketball game, high school basketball game. I mean, that was a fun place.
That's always a gym that our
high school
guests always
coaches
bring
will-
up
oh, yeah.
without
And
question.
at the time we played in college, there might not have been a more fun team to play against than Bowling Green because they were talented, they played their tails off, and the majority of them were darn good guys too.
Was that Weiner years?
Yes.
Yes. In fact, we played there one Saturday, and the USA hockey team was playing. And BG had two hockey players playing for the USA team, and Weiner came out with the score at halftime of what the USA team was doing, and to get the crowd going and things like that. And I can remember that day.
Wow.
Do you have a silly orange jacket?
Oh yeah, it was right there. He didn't have it on yet because it was just halftime, but he only put it on when they were assured to win. So you probably didn't see it many
Yeah,
times.
they got us a couple times.
Go ahead, Jim.
No. Do you know your record against each other in college?
Come on.
None of your business. How's that for answering?
It's just 3-0.
0-6 till he got into coaching, and then we beat his fanny.
0-6.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, it's double round. I forgot
Not
about
even
that.
close.
Yeah,
We were really good.
yeah,
They
you
were
were.
good.
You never
They were-
competed with them in any game, or were there some tight ones?
We were pretty good my freshman year of Jay's 3 years. We had Tim Joyce and Steve Skaggs that could really play, and then Brewer Gray was one of our big guys who was darn good defensively and could rebound the heck out of it. And we competed with them a little bit, but boy, they were good. I mean, they were really good. So, yeah, 0-6, Lynn. Thanks for bringing that up.
Well, we had to
My
bring it.
pleasure.
We had to bring it. You knew it was going to be out, but what about in that game or any of those 6 games? How often would you guard each other, and how was that whole thing? Had to be fun, some fun times.
More so early, and when we played earlier, neither one of us played great. It was not fun. Didn't like it. He was leaving to go back to Athens when we played at Toledo. It was not good. But then they had a point guard come in his class, so I was guarding him later. So I wasn't guarding him as much, and both of us started playing better when we played in those games. But right at the beginning, I did not like that he wasn't playing with us.
Yeah, it was. I'll agree with that. It was not a whole lot of fun. They obviously one of the big reasons is we couldn't beat them because they were so good, and they made sure they were competitive and got after you a little bit, and it was tough playing against them, no question about it.
Did you at least outscore him?
Oh yeah, he probably outscored.
I don't know about every. Couple times he had pretty good games against us, and I think he might have even got into 20. He had 18, I think, at least twice against us.
You must have been guarding him then.
Yeah, that's a good possibility. There's no question about that. Well, thanks for bringing that up too, Dave, because we played Ottawa Glandorf when they had really good guards, Kenny Podhast, who went to Finley, and Al Leventhal. And before we played that game during that week of practice, I talked about Coach Renz being a great motivator. He set us all up on the stage, and he says, "Now this game's big at Ottawa, fellas." He says they're very good at home, and they're right up there with us in the league. And he said, "It's not going to be easy." He says, "Who's Kirk going to guard?" Well, I didn't want to prove him wrong, so in the first half, I had Al Labenthal, and I think he had 14 in the first half, so Coach Renz was pretty mad, so he switched Jay over to Labenthal, and I took Podhast, and Podhast had 20 in the second half, so I made sure I proved him a prophet, Dan.
That's funny.
One story I do remember, the first time we played against each other, a ton of people from Defiance came to the game. And I was starting, he was not, and I went out of the game as he came in. Then when I checked back into the game, we were in a three-quarter court pressure, and he was bringing it up, and I was on him. And I heard nothing but the loudest buzzing noise. I mean, I can't even explain it. I don't know what it was, whether it's fans yelling or whatever, but it was just the oddest thing that, you know, that the first time we ever went against each other, that happened.
Wow. You know, I'm going to backtrack because, you know, you mentioned gyms. And the convo down in Athens, that's still a treasure. I mean, it sets down there in Athens County, and what's the seat, 13, 12?
Yeah, 13,080, I think.
Yeah, it's still gorgeous.
Yeah.
Still gorgeous.
To be built in the early 70s, and you know, it's still lasting, you know, 50 years later,
Yeah.
Dave. It's just I think it's an unbelievable facility. It was a great facility to practice in. It had handball courts, offices, dormitories.
Yeah.
We would stay there on Friday nights for Saturday games, and whoever thought of that building and the vision of thinking of that building, what a great.
I mean,
Great shooting facility for other teams.
Yeah. Well, it's just a drive. What's the interstate that comes down and you hit and you
33?
and you all of a sudden you turn around and there it is. You know, it's like wow.
Yeah.
And you know, I go back to Centennial Hall back in the first years, and they moved into Savage. Still a great place.
Yeah. Well, they've really done some great things to it.
Right.
It just, the convo and not being negative by any means, but it's too big.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
Things now are.
Yep.
You know, back then they would fill it when DePaul come in and
Sure.
they beat them or whatever, they'd fill it. But you know,
Yeah.
now you're not too many things going on. I mean, life's just changed. 3-year-old kids are playing basketball.
Yeah.
You don't get the crowds that you used to get.
I'm curious, you went into the broadcasting network later on in your career, but coached earlier. When did coaching become something in your mind that you wanted to do once your college days were done for both of you?
I think for me, Lynn, the first contact that I had with Roger Renz, I knew that was something that I wanted to do. I had so much respect and admired what he had done and did for me as a player and things like that, and that's what I wanted to do for younger kids. And that's when I knew I wanted to coach. Now, when I got to college, because of the Billy Hahns and the Fran Frischellas, now the question was, do I want to get into high school coaching or do I want to get into college coaching? Because not that I was that good, but I just had a ton of contacts with Franny and Billy and Coach Nee. You know, the world was at my hands. If I wanted to get into college coaching, I mean, there were a ton of places they were ready to ask me if I wanted to go be a graduate assistant somewhere. And I decided, I wanted to do a high school, and that's where I ended up.
Did you consider any other profession? If you wouldn't have been a basketball coach and a teacher, what else would have Kirk Lehman done if he wouldn't have went that path? Was there any other option for you, or did you never think about?
No, I don't think so. I think I was locked in on doing something with basketball, and then especially when Coach Nee and Billy got me involved with the 5-star basketball camp. When you work that camp and the people that are associated with that, and it's a plethora
it's a who's who.
Who's who in the game of basketball. I mean, Seth Greenberg, and it just unbelievable the number of people that are there. And once I did that, I knew that coaching was what I set the
Was there a school, did you want to get back to Defiance, your alma mater, or was there a school that was kind of your goal to coach at the high school level, Kirk?
Well, not really, but interesting. My first interview was at a job that somebody on this panel got, and that was Patrick Henry. The job opened up when Dave was at Stryker, and I contacted Dan Ross, and he called me in for an interview, and Dave was also applying, and obviously knowing Northwest Ohio basketball and knowing what Dave Krauss had done at Stryker, you know, I knew it was an uphill battle, but I thought, what the heck, I'm going to go ahead and interview, and worked out for both of us. Dave did an unbelievable job at PH, and then things opened up at Tenora, and I started there, and rest is history, Lynn.
Yeah. But you get back to Defiance. That had to be a little special for you, playing there in your high school career and growing up there. That had to...
I had a couple chances when I was at Tenora. I had talks with John Garris, who had been our JV coach at Defiance, and we had talked a little bit about, I think it was about my 5th year at Tenora. We had been pretty successful and with Jimmy Harris and that bunch, and he asked if I would want to come back, and I just didn't feel I was ready to do that. But then when I went away and went up to Rossford, and then Barry Parsons called, I knew I was ready.
We were a little disappointed at that because we were both living in Rossford, and our kids, after work, we'd go to the ballpark and pitch to them, and you know, certainly, obviously, weren't disappointed for Kurt, but for him being able to go back to Defiance. But my oldest and Bryn, who's now coaching at Defiance, were the same age, and it was really a good setup at Rossford.
What path did you think you were going to take after your college days, Jay?
I would have been more into coaching too, but I tell you what, I really did enjoy coaching my own kids just in baseball. You know, not the basketball thing, and I wasn't the head coach when I was coaching both of them. But I really did like the summer baseball program, and part of it was coaching with Kirk and Bryn as well.
Kirk, I forgot, when you left Rossford, you kind of took a little hiatus from coaching.
Yeah.
What was that cause? And then obviously, 5 or 6 years later, that's when Barry caught you back to Defiance. Huh?
Yeah, exactly right, Dave. I coached 4 years at Rossford, and then there was a little conflict between the superintendent and myself, and his son had been on the team, and there were some things there that were said, and letters sent out, and after discussion with my wife and I, we decided to stop coaching for a little bit, but I stayed at Rossford for 6 more years and taught. But maybe one of the great factors in getting my love back for the game of basketball was that 6 years, because Steve Mix opened up the Steve Mix Basketball Academy.
Yep.
And I started working with him and Dave Matthews, and you know, you talk about a guy who was a professional basketball player and as down to earth as can possibly be, and a great guy. Steve Mix was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That guy, I mean, he could have walked around with his chest out and his head up in the clouds and things like that. And
He's still working with kids.
Just never forgot where he came from.
No,
did he?
no, that's exactly right. He wanted to help other kids do what he did, and do it in Toledo. And what a first class person. You know, I had a chance to meet Julius Erving, working there, and Steve and Julius Erving were best friends. And he came on the day that we had our grand opening at the Mix Academy, and just some unbelievable experiences. But even when Dr. J was there, Steve was the same Steve Mix, just a great guy.
And that academy really was at the forefront, because there weren't a lot of things like that around in our neck of the woods. I don't know about where he came from in Philly or wherever, where he got his idea, but now that you see him everywhere, you see all kind of establishments that are.
Boy, we had some players in Northwest Ohio coming here. You know, you guys sent us some kids. Aaron Kraft came over when he was young. Jimmy Jackson, some of those guys, you know. And Steve was I mean, he was as accommodating to the 16th guy as he was to a Jimmy Jackson or an Aaron Kraft. I mean, he just, what a first-class individual.
Yeah. This could be all night.
Could be. You got more questions?
Not really. I mean, I just like to hear what they got to say about
I do
anything.
too. Yeah. I'm curious, both you guys' thoughts, because you played Division I college basketball, the age that we're in with college basketball and the NIL and the transfers. You guys have an opinion on kind of where we're at the collegiate level? And what would that been like for you guys playing it in that?
How much are you made down in Athens?
The Cats Den would have paid me at least a pitcher a week or something. I don't know if we could say that.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
This is fine.
Well, I'm all for NIL. I'm, they're making money off these kids.
Absolutely.
But they gotta, I don't know I don't have the answers, but they need to find some answers. They need to get some, whether it's Mike Krzyzewski or Nick Saban or, people of that.
We need some
power.
experts on
Yes.
on a board.
Yes, that they have to make, some right decisions, and Tom Izzo is another one, but somehow they got to figure out. NIL, or transfer portal, a guy can be to 6 different schools. That's what the age we're in, right or wrong, I don't know. Calipari, I've been hearing him say, hey, you go to a school, doesn't work out for you, go ahead, go to another one, coach gets fired, okay, go there, but, 4 or 5 different schools, he wasn't for that, but so they got to figure something out.
Yep.
Even the football right now, the football's
a joke.
goofed up.
They said there were 4,000 players in the portal before it even opened.
Well, yeah.
You got coaches on Ole Miss's staff that are recruiting for LSU.
It's crazy.
It's
Yeah, the coach at Ole Miss is gone, and Ole Miss is playing in the national semifinals.
And assistants are flying back and forth from LSU to Ole Miss, recruiting and coaching.
Yeah.
Something's got to be done.
And I totally agree. And one thing that I think we're missing, or players today are missing, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, whatever transfer portal they're talking about, is December 28th, 18 of us had a text chain going wishing Roger Smith from Lorraine, Ohio, a happy birthday. And these are Bobcat teammates from all those years. And I'm, and then I get off that text, and Billy Littlefield, who's a doctor in Indianapolis that was a teammate of mine for 2 years, and Jim Zelinka, they send me a text, and we get a chain going. And I just can't imagine that they do that kind of stuff in today's world. And I think they're missing the cohesiveness, the togetherness. And I know it's a team thing. And most importantly, I think it makes your team better. But now you start talking about lifetime. I heard Calipari talking about, what's the mental frame of mind of an athlete who's getting $3 million a year at Arkansas to play college basketball, and then all of a sudden he doesn't make it in the pros, and now he goes back to the real world and is making $53,000. How does he deal with that? How do you handle that? And I know that's a whole different topic, but I would miss the team togetherness and us 16 guys, 18 guys sending a text back and forth and that kind of thing, Lynn.
Yeah, they won't have that.
Yeah.
There's no,
Yeah.
who do I send? I was here 1 year and then there's no bonding.
It's 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah, no bonding.
Yeah. And these kids are under so much pressure these days with social media, and me as a fan, I'm guilty of it. I get on these kids and probably, and privately in my
Right.
dining room
Right.
or my family room, say something watching a game. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're doing their best, and you see how much these colleges are making off of these kids. I mean, it's crazy. They deserve a little piece of the pie.
sure.
In a way, but maybe it's gotten a little too out of hand where a kid goes to a school, doesn't see the court, is taking a $2 million paycheck and goes to the next place. I don't know how you fix that.
Are players playing different, knowing that they're going for a payday the next year?
Sure.
You would hope not, but, you know,
Human nature.
yeah, you can't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's it needs remedied. It's like you say, let's find some people who are no longer in the game but have been in the game to give them direction. Those are the people that you need to get a hold of, whether the guys you talked about or be perfect guys.
Matt Painter would be another one I would get in. He seems like
Yeah.
Yep.
And please get it solved quick, because I'm afraid it's coming to the high school level pretty soon.
Well,
Yeah.
it is. It
Yeah.
is, but yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Jay, I'm curious, your broadcaster career, why have you stuck with it so long? Why is it so enjoyable for you?
well, it started out, I did the first 3 years because my former teammate, Stan Joplin, asked me to do some of the games on TV on Channel 11 and 13. So for 3 years, I did the TV game, and then they had a guy who was doing the color for the radio, took another job out of state, and he asked me to do it again. So that's how I got involved, loved it, I still love it. It's great being around good kids at the Toledo programs I've brought in. The staffs are terrific. Todd Kowalczyk and his staff treat us great. You know, it's fun being around those guys, and you know, they give me a little stipend for doing the games, and you know, I got one of the best seats in the house, and I'll probably keep doing it as long as they'll have me.
Yeah. I'm curious, your travels. Are you traveling with the team? You driving? How does that work for a big-time broadcaster
Well, when I
like
first
yourself?
Good one. When I first started, I was still working at Team Sports. So most of the time I'd go the day of the game traveling in the MAC. Now the long ones, Northern Illinois and Buffalo, would go with the team. Go the day before. I could work half a day on the days that, you know, when I didn't have to leave. And then we go a little bit on to Buffalo, Northern Illinois, once in a while, a plane trip. The MAC plays the Sun Belt and early game, which we played at home. Now we go on the road in February. We'll fly there's some tough places there. Texas, I mean, they're all over. Marshall, Mississippi, they're South Alabama, they're all over the place. But long trips, like the Florida trips, we'll go normal, not on charter, just a regular flight. But the charters are unbelievable. You just walk right up on the plane, the bus picks you up when you land, and it's pretty good. But it helps the team out because don't spend a lot of time in the airports, and you know, you can go to Buffalo and play, and instead of having a 4.5-hour bus ride, you got a 55-minute plane flight, and you're home before midnight. Mm-hmm. It certainly helps the team, but I've been extremely fortunate to do it. Like I said, great people. That Mark Beyer is top-notch radio announcer and great guy, and you know, I've loved my whole time with him, and loved the staffs that I've called the games with.
Yeah, outstanding. Give us your analysis of where the Rockets are at here, kind of middle of January.
Well, as we talked about the NIL, we had basically 2 players back that played last year. We had 5 freshmen, 5 transfers come in, with 3 guys that came back, but one didn't play a whole lot. So still getting to know each other, played a decent, you know, very good mid-major schedule. Came out of it 6-6, loss at Michigan State, and now won our first 3 games in the MAC. We have a really good starting lineup. We need to find a little depth and get some bench help and some bench scoring. But I think it's open. I think it's Miami's undefeated, which they didn't play a great schedule, but credit to them for being undefeated. Mm-hmm. They have a nice team. Akron's very good, but I think we'll be in the top 4.
Outstanding.
Well, real quick, we started with this show out of these 2 guys out of Defiance who made a great mark in local basketball lore, and then obviously on their own marks at the college level. But let's bring it back, Kirk. You come back home, you claim a state championship at your alma mater. You know, that's big time right there. You know, and what I like to do is there aren't too many public schools that have claimed what I call the 3 men's or the guys state championships, and you finished that for the Defiance because they had won their football, they had won their baseball, and you got the basketball one. So they're one. I don't know how many. There aren't many of them. So that's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, I think at the time they had said that there were 7.
Yeah.
7 schools that had done all 3.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how accurate that is and so forth.
I thought less than 10.
Yeah, but just unbelievable experience and what a great group of guys that took me along for one heck of a ride. You know, and you've been there, Dave. You know how it is. You just seem like everything's under control the whole tournament. The team is so good, and everything that adjustment that you make, they're able to do that. And this particular team was, but to be able to see how happy guys were who graduated in '86, or in my dad's class, Kenny Harris was still going to games, and just to see how happy those guys were, that was pretty gratifying as well. But just an unbelievable experience, as you know.
Well, and then
Dave, let me add.
Go for it.
That was maybe my best day in sports, and I did a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely.
College-wise, high school.
Yep.
I mean, that was unbelievable what that team did.
Oh.
And at the semifinal game, he beat State and Dunbar, and Toledo Central Catholic in the championship game. 2 really, really good teams. So I mean, it was phenomenal. But I'm sitting at the game, and what Kirk talked about is how things go into place. I'm watching the game, and I'm watching my kids and watching Kirk coach. I'm nervous. A lot easier to coach and play on your own, but when you're watching your kids play or your brother coach, and I'm sitting there, and with 3 minutes to go, down 2, up 2, close, and I know they're going to win. Just the way they've played the whole time, the way they've controlled everything, and my brother Dan is sitting next to me, and he looks at me and he goes, "What are you smiling about?" I said, "We're going to win." He says, "How do you know?" I said, I just have that feeling, and just sitting there, and the way that they had been coaching, the way that, he's got a little point guard that's 5'5" out there taking care of the ball with, traps and everything like that, and sure enough, but that was, obviously a phenomenal day for him, but it was a phenomenal day for me as well.
That's great to hear. That's awesome.
Outstanding. Kirk, have you ever got the urge to sit down on that bench again and coach since you've retired?
No, I really haven't.
No?
And Bryn works his tail off, and I wish him nothing but all the success in the world. But, Danny Nee and Billy Hahn and Franny Fischella taught me one thing, and when you're in, you're all in. And you're a graduate assistant, your Fanny should be here before everybody in the morning, and don't you dare leave before everybody's gone. And that's the way I approach coaching for all 30 years that I did it at the high school level. And I felt comfortable. We gave it all we had. And, Brent and I will talk, and I'll go visit a practice or 2. But, no, I have not had – I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm happy going to see grandkids. I'm working on my hide-and-seek skills, and that's about it.
That's Kirk Lehman's life these days.
That's right.
Well, he has a son that can coach.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Does a nice job. Really nice job.
Oh yeah. Get that fishing pole ready here.
Yes, sir. There we go.
A few months away, unless you do some ice fishing. I don't know if it's too cold for you.
I'd do it if I had the chance. We used to have a chance up at my uncle up in Michigan lived on Lake St. Clair, and we used to do some ice fishing there when we were younger. But boy, I haven't ice fished, Lynn, for forever. But the poles are getting close to getting ready.
All right. Well, maybe if we have you on next year, we can do a little fish fry.
Hey,
he could feed us.
Make sure they bring it in. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much. It was an honor and privilege. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Very
guys.
great.
The joy of retirement is getting to talk basketball with people like you two guys.
Well, thank you. They don't make them any better than the
Jay.
Lehmans. A great family.
Absolutely.
Absolutely fantastic group. And you were obviously raised very well by your parents. So kudos to them and
Jim and
kudos
Jeannie.
for you guys.
Jim and Jeannie.
Yeah.
sir.
Yep. Coach Krauss, thank you so much.
No problem.
We'll see you next week, hopefully, as we have John Floyd here to talk about
Okay.
the great Terry Weimer. Have a great week, everybody. We'll be back next week.